So these are the MCQs related to topic 1.4, which is about density. The first one, metal ball is attached to a cork and is lowered into a measuring cylinder and pulling the cork into a water as shown. The mass of a cork is 4.8. What is the density of the cork? So how to work out the density? We know density is mass over volume. So mass divided by volume, we get the density. The mass of the cork is 4.8. But what about the volume of the cork first? When a sphere is added, it's 56. Then the cork is added, it's 80.
24 increase.
So when we take a difference, 56 minus 80, subtract.
24.
So this will be 24. So then we have 4.8 divided by 24. So 4.8 divided by 24, we get 0.2 grams per centimeter cube. So that's the density of this. So why we did not bother about, because first it was 48 changes to 56. That's the change in volume when the sphere is added. But we don't need the volume of a sphere. So how much changes once the cork is added? So it changes from 56 to 80. That's giving us 24. So 4.8 divided by 24, that will give us the density of this cork. In question 2, which substance in the table has the lowest density? To work out the density, what you have to do mass over volume. So 1.2 divided by 1, 1.5 divided by 1, 1.8 divided by 2, and 2 divided by 2. So this will be 1, this will be 0.9, this will be 1.5, and this is 1.2. The purpose of the ball in the previous one, because cork usually made up of wood and wood float on the surface. So just to submerge so that it can totally submerge into the liquid. That's why that sphere was used. Why not directly adding a cork? Because it will float. In question 3, the diagram shows a stone of an irregular shape. Which property of a stone can be found by lowering into a measuring cylinder? So if you use a measuring cylinder and lower, this will give us the change in the volume, and that change in the volume is actually equals to the volume of the stone or the object which is added. So for even for regular object, we can use this displacement method. And question 4, the mass of the empty flask is, for example, there's a flask. There's a flask and the mass of this empty flask is 34. Then we fill this flask. Then this flask is filled. The mass is 50 grams. And how much it is filled? It is filled to a level of 20 cm3. So what is the mass of the liquid? Because if we need the density of liquid, so this is the mass of the empty flask. This is the mass of the flask and liquid. So what is the mass of the liquid? So we take a difference. So it will be 50 minus 34. 50 minus 34 is equals to 16 gram. So 16 gram is the mass of the liquid and the volume is 20. So it is 16 divided by 20. That will give us 0.8 grams per centimeter cube. Is it clear? Question 4? Any doubt in this?
No.
In question 5, the mass of a measuring cylinder is 190 and the 400 cm cube of a liquid is poured. The total mass of a measuring cylinder and the liquid is 560. 4 solids are lowered into a liquid. The density is shown, which will float in the liquid. So first, because if its density is lower, it will float. If the object density is less than the liquid, that object will float, but if it's more, it will sink. So first we work out the density of the liquid. The density of a liquid is a mass of a liquid. Empty cylinder was 190 and the filled is 560. Means the liquid plus the measuring cylinder is 550. So if you want to work out the mass, so it will be 560 subtracted by 190. So the mass of the liquid will be 370. And what about the volume of the liquid? 400. So 370 divided by 400, that will give us the density of the liquid, which is 0.925. Now, if we have a liquid, and that is having a density of 0.925. So if anything having a density less than or equal to 0.925, it will float. But if it is more than 0.925, it will sink. So when we check, first one, will it float or sink? If the object density is 0.4, it's less than 0.95, will it sink or float?
Float.
So this will float. What about 0.9? If it is equal or less, it will float.
Sink, float.
Yeah, it will float. 1.2, sink.
Sink.
2.7 also
Sink.
sink. So it means object 1 and 2 will float, where object 3 and 4 will sink. That's why B is the right answer for this. Is it clear, this one? Any doubt?